What's up, YouTube? Back at you guys with another great video today. So I'm sure you guys all seen the title, seen the thumbnail, so I know what's going down. We're going to be going over the heated debate and feud going on between legendary comedian Corey Holcomb and up-and-coming YouTube, well, not up-and-coming now, he's doing pretty awesome, but the content creator Anton Daniels, more right-leaning, conservative man, all that good jazz. Who's right, who's wrong, who started it, who got punked, who was actually ready to come to blows, all that jazz. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So as I'm sure you guys already seen last week, Anton Daniels, he came onto Corey Holcomb's 5150 platform. I've actually watched both of these content creators for years now. Huge fan of Corey Holcomb, actually one of my favorite comedians. I actually got to see him live one time not too long ago. He was on tour with 85 South, because I'm sure you guys are familiar with those guys. And funny dude, funny guy. And if you watch his 5150 show, he's been working that podcast for years now, and he's built it up to what it is today, and it's pretty impressive. So shouts out to Corey Holcomb for that. But Corey Holcomb, you could say kind of more of a left-leaning guy, even though he's not huge into politics. He doesn't believe in voting at all, which I disagree with, but to each their own. So decided to have Anton come onto the 5150 podcast so they could have a debate. Seems like it was going to be more so on the political side, because that's what Anton's content mostly revolves around. He talks about his political views as well as popular culture here and there and stuff like that. So came on and they immediately got right down to it. Corey Holcomb talking about how there's these mysterious white men in power and stuff like that, and why Anton only talks about quote unquote black people, and that's it. He doesn't talk about anybody else but big up white folks. But like I said, I watch both content creators, and I would definitely have to say Anton, he definitely talks about everybody. Black, white, Indian, Somalian, you name it. He talks about everybody. And in his own words, he likes to quote unquote target degenerate behavior. For the most part, I kind of agree with that take. I've watched a ton of his content as well, so I would definitely say he targets everybody. But the main tip that everybody disagrees with Anton about, especially in the black community, is that he doesn't say anything negative about white male conservatives. While I have seen him disagree with a few white male conservatives here and there, like he definitely doesn't like Nick Fuentes, or he didn't really care for, I forgot the name of that one guy that, the name can't come to my head. If it pops up in my head, I'll bring it back up. But I've seen him disagree with probably like 2 or 3 white male conservatives, but not so much talking bad about me as disagree with a take on a policy here or there or something like that, but nothing crazy, you know. But again, you got to think about it. What do people talk about most? What they're familiar with or what they grew up around. Anton Daniels, being a black man from Detroit, black wife, black kid, all this stuff that still lives there now to this day. He's going to talk about what he's most familiar with, which is the black community, because that's what he came from. So it is what it is, but most people, they don't really watch people's content entirely. They'll only see like clips here and there, stuff like that, whatever went viral, 15-second videos, shorts, you name it, so they don't get the full context of what somebody's saying. So what they'll mainly see is whatever they mostly view, and then with that, it'll go into the algorithm, and they'll keep getting shown that. So if all you watch from Anton Daniels is short clips of him talking about black folks, well, that's what the algorithm's going to view, and that's what you're most going to see unless you go out your own way to actually view the majority of their content. So that's the narrative behind Anton Daniels, and that's what Corey Holcomb was going at Anton about. So as they were going about it and stuff like that, Anton Daniels asking Corey to give him examples of what he's talking about as far as white men being in power and all this other stuff and political dynamics of the USA. And Corey really didn't have any real examples to really give him. Corey Holcomb, he's not an intellectual. He's not dumb or anything like that, but he's more of just wears hard on his sleeve. He just says what comes to his mind, what he's feeling at that time. And of course, he'll add his own comedic take to it as well, which be funny as hell most of the time too. But he's not going to come with you with some reputable sources, like from a book or some good website or something like that. Corey's not going to do all that. That's not who he is. He's going to give you more of his anecdotal experience and what he takes from his own perception of the situation. Or as far as Anton, he's actually going to do the research, get the full context of what's going on, try to get both sides, yada, yada. You know, he's going to come from a more logical standpoint, especially when it comes to stuff like politics and stuff like that. So they bump heads. Corey's getting mad and all that stuff. So yeah, y'all seen the video. So what's my take on it? Who do I think got punked or who I think right or wrong? So let me go ahead and get right on into it. So obviously it started off with Corey Holcomb telling that Anton kissed white men's ass. So Anton got upset and he took it up another notch and told Corey Holcomb that he sucks the dick of black folks. So obviously Corey Holcomb started it. I don't agree with that. He should have just remained calm and actually try to hear Anton's side more and then try to disagree in a more respectable manner. But we all know how Corey Holcomb is. He can tend to get disrespect from time to time, but he may not see it himself. So definitely wrong. So obviously I seen the rest, told Darlene move out the way, got in his face. They got to going back and forth, tell me, hey, tell me I sucked dick again. Anton, oh, let's go out and back and let's run a fair one. So nothing happened. There's a whole lot of bark, no bite. What do I take from it myself personally? Well, I grew up doing combat sports, so I'm pretty familiar with confrontation, as well as growing up in St. Louis, Missouri. So I had to defend myself a lot growing up as well, too. I would just say it's kind of wolf tickets on both sides, to be honest with you. If I had to give you a guess of who would actually win in a fight, honestly, I probably lean more towards Anton, just because he's younger and not as out of shape, because they're both pretty out of shape. And I've never seen either one of them fight, but neither one of them really impressed me as far as that tip. But like I said, the only reason I lean towards Anton is because he's younger and in a little bit better shape. Because Corey Holcomb is not that much taller than Anton, but you can tell he's a big guy. And he's like, what, pushing 60 almost, something like that. So, gotta sit down, old man. So with me, I'm not gonna sit there and get all in your face, barking all mad and all that stuff like that. Look, we're gonna fight. Look, let's just out back, let's get it done. If I'm gonna get in your face, might as well go ahead and go all the way. So I'll definitely say Corey Holcomb was selling wolf tickets more. And some people will argue the situation of, gotta save the podcast, you know what I'm saying? Only get taken to court, yada, yada, this and that, legal stuff, whatever. Look, if I'm ready to take it there and I'm going to do all that, I might as well just go ahead and go all the way. So, y'all tell me how y'all feel down in the comment box down below as far as that situation. Do you think Anton selling wolf tickets? Do you think Corey got punked? Let me know. I'd love to hear y'all guys' opinion. Now, as far as how the rest of the conversation went, Corey, he actually tried to calm down and settle things down and resolve things amicably and try to get back to the conversation. But Anton, he was low-key taking jabs at Corey going on through. He tried to, too. He apologized, but you could low-key tell he's still kind of throwing shots at Corey and stuff like that, trying to agitate him and kind of take control of the conversation. You know, it's small little jabs and nitbits like that. If you watch the video again, you can kind of see some of it. And it really escalated again once he told Corey that he shitted on him. He thinks he shitted on him in the podcast. So, and then it re-escalated. And then Anton ends up deciding to leave. Corey tells him to get his bitch ass out and take the chick he brought in with him and all that stuff like that. So now everybody's talking about, oh, is Anton Daniels cheating on his wife and stuff like that? He's traveling with a different chick that isn't his wife. So this whole speculation on that. Well, Anton Daniels actually did come out and address that and said there was a chick that he's working with by the name of Mika, who's been on his podcast before, and it's typically on his what's it called, Room 9 channel, where they're constantly doing podcasts and stuff like that. So some people have their opinions on that, on is Anton Daniels really this faithful husband, Christian man that he claims himself out to be, or is he doing all his other stuff on the side? As far as I'm concerned, I don't really concern myself with that. I don't know the guy personally. I don't know his situation. If him and his wife are okay with whatever hell kind of arrangement they got going on, that's between them. But he has publicly shown the women that he's worked with and stuff like that. His wife knows about all these women and all that stuff. So it is what it is. If they like it, I love it. So if the wife's happy, husband's happy, whatever situation got going on is their business. Now, if at any point something crazy comes out and his wife's divorced, you know what I'm saying, he's cheating this and that, then I'll definitely come back and, you know what I'm saying, come to you guys and give my opinion and take on that. But as far as that, it's kind of a nothing burger to me. Because, like I said, it seems like the wife's cool with it, knows where everything's going on. So, now I'm saying that he is doing anything, but from what it appears, he has brought somebody that is up under him, is on his network to, try to bigger up some more. So whatever. Do I think they'll resolve this or ever come to terms? I would have to say probably not as well. Yes, because Anton Daniels even came up on his show again and said he doesn't really want friends. He even told Corey Holcomb this over the phone and stuff like that. He don't really want a whole bunch of friends. He want to be able to freely speak on everybody the way he wants to, because whenever he's friends with somebody, he has to keep this certain amount of loyalty and stuff like that. So he's big on being able to constantly being able to up his brand and being able to say what he want to say when he want to say it. So with a lot of people, like you say, like Stephen A. Smith, who likes to play both sides, try to be friends with everybody and stuff like that, all these other guys that want to be friendly, super duper friendly with everybody. Well, now something happens to that person, they get into a scandal, they can't really talk about it freely because they don't want to sit there and burn that bridge because they got ties to that person. So gotta pick and choose your relationships wisely, choose to do business, because friends and business, friends and family don't really mix that well. Kind of want to separate them. And that's what Anton's kind of doing. So I don't really see them resolving it, especially since it's not like they really knew each other like that before that. That was their first in-face interaction. It wasn't the best first impression, as you could tell. What I am waiting on is for Corey Holcomb to see if he'll have an initial response, because this happened about a week ago as I'm making this video today. And seeing Anton make a few comments afterwards on his live stream and stuff like that, but haven't seen Corey Holcomb say anything about it yet. So I'm wondering if he'll say something, because I believe the 5150 show, they typically do it every Tuesday. He might take a week off here or there because he still travels for comedy shows, stuff like that. So I'm curious to see how they'll turn out and see if he has anything further to say. Seeing Craig actually come out and speak on it and stuff like that, saying that Anton was using these different tactics and stuff like that to take advantage of Corey, and that he would like to debate Anton as well. Drove back to the 5150 show because he had a show left at to go there, try to catch Anton and stuff like that, hopping fences and stuff, whatever. So whole lot of craziness. The whole goal of the podcast and for them to come together and have a debate, I agree with, because at the end of the day, we can't grow anywhere if two people that disagree can't come together and debate amicably and respectfully. Because at the end of the day, nobody's going to see things your way. Nobody's going to agree with 100% what you say, and it's always good to not be in an echo chamber and hear the other side. So it's always good to have two opposing sides coming together. It'll definitely make great content. I definitely think that was great content for both of them. Now, as far as their image and stuff like that, well, like I said, nothing came to blows, but it'll definitely sway other people's opinion on whether or not they'll continue watching that person. So it's definitely going to create a divide. So where I think this goes from here, they'll both keep doing their own thing. Their core audience. I don't think either one of them is going to lose that. But how they'll gain audience or not, it's going to be all over the place, but it'll be good for both of them. It definitely caused a ruckus for a good couple of days and stuff like that. So I love to see that. But my final take on it, I think it was all planned and orchestrated the way it went, how Anton Daniels wanted it to go. Probably didn't see him getting that upset, Corey Holcomb getting that upset and get into a space and them arguing back and forth like that. But as far as Anton, he all he really cares about is upping his brand. So controversy, stuff like that kind of plays into his favor. Whereas as far as other people, with Corey Holcomb, like I said, he'll still have his core fans. But Corey does have a lot of folks that don't really care too much from him as far as in the comedy game or other stuff, because I know he talked a lot of shit about other people like Stephen A. Smith and stuff like that, or Charles Barkley and all that stuff. So there's a lot of people that know Corey, and some people don't really care too much for him. So I've seen a few of them come out and kind of say like Corey got punked and all that stuff like that, or he's selling wolf tickets. So at the end of the day, I think they'll both be fine. Would I like to actually see them actually try to finish the conversation that they were initially trying to have? Absolutely. I like both content creators, but I just wouldn't lean more towards Corey when it comes to what the black community should do and stuff like that. I love his takes and I love hearing his opinion, especially because it gives a comedic take to it. But like I said, he's not an intellectual. So it's not something I would advise, like take it with a grain of salt. And like I said, even though Anton might be more on the intellectual side and actually does more research to actually get a better understanding of the situation, depending on what it is, whether it be politics, something like that, or business. Like I said, I don't agree with everything everybody says. At the end of the day, still do your own research. You know what I'm saying? And rock with who you rock with, you know? But love both guys. Wish them nothing but the best. I'll stay tuned to this, see if there's anything further. Definitely be on top of it. Corey decides to come out and speak about it further and what his thoughts on it was, and whether or not he'll try to have Anton back on show or he go to Anton's show. We'll see. I kind of see it as a low possibility on either side of them working together again, but definitely all in all great content and love to see more from them. Other than that, like I said before, guys, tell me what you guys think down below in the comment box. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.